Hey, so this video that is about to reach you has been filmed twice before. It's great life, great life. In your first Gendercare appointment video, I said I'll hit you up when I get my report in from Gendercare with like a more in-depth video about what happens after that, and I filmed it once, and the file was corrupted or something wrong happened to it, so I couldn't upload it, and then to avoid me losing the file, I uploaded it unedited. I filmed it for a second time. I filmed it and uploaded it unedited to YouTube. But then I realised that I tried to download it from my YouTube to put it in my editor, but it would not. It downloads in an MP4, and MP4s have this lovely tendency to just slip out of sync. I tried for literally probably a week, every day for about a week to fix it, and it's not happening, it's not having it. So every time I've tried to film this, it's gone out of sync, or gone terrible, or something wrong has happened, so yeah, that's that. So today I'm gonna go through, I've got my report through, it's sopping wet. It's, I spilt water on it yesterday. I'm gonna go through this, and basically it sums up what was talked about in the appointment with Dr. Lorimer for Gendercare. So I had my appointment, and I had some results that they were waiting off. So at the time of my appointment, I didn't have my blood results, so I was like, yo, Lorimer, like, I'll send them as soon as I have them. He was like, yeah, tight, that's cool, whatever. So I got them in and sent them along, and I went to my doctor's surgery, and I had a list of things that I wanted to write, so I tried in, and I was like, hey, this is a list of things I need, please test for all of this. It's great that you've got them written down, because that's really, it's much easier for us. So I was like, great, excellent. So on there was vitamin D. Keep that in mind, because it's going to be relevant in a minute. So about a week, maybe just about a week after my blood results, I sort of hit up my doctor's surgery, and I was like, yo, have you got my results? And they were like,
Yo.
They were like, yeah, we do, come get them. And I was like, great, you need to print them off for me, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, yeah, that's Gucci, like, we closed at 5:30 or something. It was like 22 minutes past 5. I was like, fucking hell. So I cycled on over to my doctor's surgery. They had everything printed out, and I was like, hey, that's definitely everything that I asked for, that we spoke about on the phone. The list, they were like, yeah, everything's on there. I was like, tight. Another, just side note, vitamin D results take about 2 weeks to come back for my particular surgery, because they need to go to my city. I'm in a town right now, but they need to go to my city to get tested, and then they get sent back, so they normally take about 2 weeks. So I was like, great, I'm so glad that you were able to get everything so quickly, because it's only been a week and it can take up to 2. And they were like, yeah, no problem, see you again soon, Mr. Dixon. And I was like, great. So I went home, and I promised my mum that I wouldn't look at my results, because we were just interested in what the results were. We just wanted to open them together, because it was like kind of a big thing, whatever. So I had this envelope, and it looked really posh, and I was like trotting along, went all the way back home, opened it, no vitamin D. There is no vitamin D on my results. I was like,
Fuck you.
so I called back, and they were like, yeah, sorry, we didn't have that, so we just left it off. I was like, did you? So I emailed Gendercare, and I was like, hey, here's all of my results, bar the vitamin D. And they were like, hey, that's not a problem, blah, blah, blah. You know, it'll be fine. We'll send off the others. It should be fine, because vitamin D is not really relevant. So about 4 days later, I got a call from my doctor's surgery, like, hey, just saying no further, because what they do is when they get a blood result in, they call you to say like, no action needed, so you don't need to come in, there's nothing wrong with you. At that point, they'd only had my blood results, full blood count, right? They didn't have my vitamin D, so they were like, hey, no action required, you don't need to come in, everything's fine, blah, blah, blah. 2 days later, I now know that they got my vitamin D results, but I didn't think about that at the time, because I thought it was going to take longer. So they phoned me up again and said, hello, blah, 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 not to alarm you or anything, nothing to worry about, but could you please call us ASAP? At that point, I was on a train to a very big city in my area, and I was going to look at some universities. So, like, I was already stressed, and they're hitting me up with, like, oh, nothing to worry about, but could you please call us ASAP? I was like, of course I fucking can't. So I did. I phoned up, and they were like, yeah, we need to talk to you about your blood results. At that point, I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean you need to talk to me about my blood results? So they were like, yeah, there's concerning levels on there. I was like, I was a ball of anxiety at that point, so I was just like, yeah, fine, you know, when do you want me in? Thinking they'd be like, next month. They literally said, like, it was like 2 days away. They were like, 2 days? I was like, fucking, not really, I'm at work. So they said, oh, well, the next appointment is really, like, much later, and we need to get you in before that. So I was, like, heart beating, like, I'm literally dying. So they put me in for, like, the following Wednesday, which is about a week away. So for that whole week, I was a ball of anxiety. I was like, oh my god, what is happening? You know, like, I'm gonna die. They found something really concerning on my bloods. They're just never gonna let me start tea. I'm gonna cry. Life is bad. And then it got to the day of my appointment, and I had I'd sacrificed my breaks at work to go to this appointment, right? So I showed up, and bearing in mind I was supposed to be in work, so I was like, come on, lads. So they got me in. The appointment lasted 3 minutes. 3-minute appointment. 3 minutes. Literally, I sat down there like, yeah. So the doctor was like, one of your levels is quite concerning. So I was like, you know, what is it? At that point, I was thinking, maybe could it be this vitamin D that I'm waiting for? And they were like, yeah, it's your vitamin D. All your other levels are normal. So at that point, I had paper in my hand. I like put it on the desk. I was like, with all due respect, Mr. Doctor, what do you mean? Because I was under the impression that this appointment was urgent. And she was like, yeah, it is urgent. So I said, you know, again, all due respect, vitamin D, really, all my other levels are perfect, yeah, nothing to worry about. She was like, yeah, they're absolutely fine, they're completely spot on. So I was like, so she said, yeah, well, you know, the normal levels in this area are about 70 to 75. And I sort of sat back, really pissed off at that point. She looks me dead in the eye and she's like, yes, so yours are 32.5, sir. At that point I was like, oh. And she basically, like, it was, I wasn't quite at, like, the dangerous level yet, but I was very close to, like, the dangerously low vitamin D level. So I was like, oh, okay, I understand. And she was like, if you're any lower, we'd have to just inject you with, like, straight vitamin D. But you're just about at the level where I can give you a recommendation for a supplement. So I said, oh, great. So I'm on that now, so it's fine. Like, tangent over. So this is 4 days after I sent off my other blood results. I then got back to Gendercare. I said, hey, I've had an appointment. I'm really fucking deficient in vitamin D. But here are my results. I've scanned them in for you. And I'm also on a supplement for it, so it's not even a problem. They were super friendly. They were like, thank you so much. By the way, like, you'll make best friends with them. Like, they're so lovely. So everything's fine. And then literally, an hour later, David, the assistant, emailed me saying, oh, we have your report here. Do you want to go through it and, like, confirm all the details are correct? So it was, like, a literal transcript. They use, like, a speech-to-text software. So it's literally a transcript of everything that you said. And they send you it. I was expecting it to be about a week, you know? Like, it was about 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I was reading through and I finalised it. So I was expecting them to at least take a few days, if not a week. But literally, the next day, I woke up and there was this on my doorstep. And I was like, oh, what could this be? And it's first class. And then I turned it around and saw GC and I was like, bitch, I know what this is. So I opened it up and it was this big fat off report of everything that we spoke about in our appointment. So here, the first bit of paper is United Kingdom Passport Agency, so obviously I live in the UK. This is telling me that I can get my gender marker changed on my passport. So that's really cool, and it basically, this report goes to a lot of people. It goes to your GP, it goes to the passport office, it goes to Gendercare, it goes to a lot of places. So that's that one. If you requested that in the appointment, you will get that when you get the report. And then here is the actual report of our appointment. So it says, I met with Mr. Dixon, that's me, at the Gendercare premises in Marylebone following his self-referral to from www.gendercare.co.uk website. And it tells this is going to my GP, so your GP. So it tells your GP, like, who he is, who he works for, what he's qualified to do. It gives a link for further details. A bit about Gendercare, and then it says objectives. So obviously mine were, I'm keen to start testosterone, and I wanted a gender marker change letter, which I got. So it says here what you want from your appointment. It says about other gender services, about endocrinology appointments, so you book an appointment with Dr. Seal for the next time to actually talk about the hormones. Talks about what I've done for that, and he says advising blood results are all good. I'm able to recommend bridging testosterone. About any previous referrals I've had, so I've actually been referred via the NHS, so it says about that. The gender assessment, so this is the actual details of what you guys talked about. So I carried out a comprehensive face-to-face assessment. This included the discussion of factors including influencing timing of presentation to gender services, genesis and development of gender identity through early life, puberty and post-puberty, family, relationships, circumstances, orientation, medical history, all that stuff, and pros and cons of testosterone. So it makes it really clear that you know exactly what you're doing, so your GP can't really be like, you're ill-advised. Do you know what I mean? Alternatives to gender transition, so we did... What? Alternatives to gender transition, so he did sort of quiz me on, not quiz, but that's a bit of a bad word, but he did ask me whether I knew about non-binary identities or just being a gender non-conforming human being rather than physically transitioning, and he actually quoted me here, even if I thought I could 1%, I absolutely would. So that's true, that's what I said. I literally said if I even 1% thought that I could just live gender non-conforming, I wouldn't, in essence, waste my time or money transitioning, because I know it's difficult, but I still want to do it and I need to do it, which shows that I'm a binary guy rather than, do you know what I mean? So, as he sees it, some degree of bodily change is essential, which is true. Social transitioning, talking about depols, talking about how long I've been out, living full time, and I spoke about here, he will ask you about why you came out and why it was the perfect time to come out, which in my case it wasn't, and he says there, yep, that's the first page. Family, friends, peers, whether you're socially out, how long you've been out for, blah, blah, blah. Mental health, your career, he actually talks about as well, so it shows your GP that, like, this isn't the be-all and end-all, you're actually wanting to have a life, and that doesn't mean you have to be like, oh, Lorimer, I want to be a lawyer, like, you just have to show that you have some sort of resolve, do you see what I'm saying? Because it shows that you're sound of mind and you're motivated, and you need this to actually get on with your life. So yeah, mental health, obviously, I'm not going to go into what it says here, but he'll lightly touch on your mental health history, whether you've been self-harming or, doing all that kind of stuff. So yeah, whether you have an addictive personality, all that kind of stuff, but it's not heavy or anything. He's really good at, like, sort of sidestepping things like that. Physical health, whether you're on any medication, obviously it speaks about how testosterone can fuck about with your blood, smoking, other habits that might interject with that. Blood investigations, obviously I was waiting on mine, so there's nothing there. It just says, as long as they're okay, I would advise being prescribed testosterone. Mental state, talking about whether you have any changes that you don't want on testosterone. I didn't really. I had some that I wasn't too keen on, but I understand that you can't pick and choose, and he makes that very clear. About your preference as to how you want your testosterone, whether it's gel, whether it's injections, whether it's, there's lots of other routes that you can take, so we'll talk to you about that. And then here is my actual diagnosis of female to male transsexualism, which sounds scary, but they have to put it in medical terms because it's very doctory, it's very medical, there's an understanding between two doctors, your GP, and do you see what I'm saying? Suggested management, about your next appointment, about any guidance that you need, some links for helpful things that you might want to sort out if you're struggling. And here's just some like next steps on the last page. It says some information about NHS referrals. I've arranged for him to be provided Dr. Seal's information, which is true. I was given all that, perfect. It actually has a list of all the bloods that you need on the letter, which is perfect. So you can, if you haven't had them done yet, they already have a list, which is great, but I had already done that by myself. Since our meeting, Mr. Dixon has emailed a vitamin D result and has informed me that he has commenced a supplement, which is true, which is crazy because this was literally hours after, so they inputted that on the same night, which is incredible. I'm happy to provide him with a passport letter, which I have. In addition to his future appointment, I wish to review Mr. Dixon perhaps 6 months after starting testosterone in order to gauge his response, so, the next thing. And then in longer term, he'll be presumably followed up with the NHS to talk about, like, surgery and next steps. And that's it. That's it. So it's, I went over that very quickly, but it goes super duper in depth, which is really, really good. So yeah, that's more in depth about sort of, what is talked about, and if you expect to get this on your doorstep, what you will see in it when it does arrive to you. So yeah, hopefully this video will work. At this point, I filmed the video that I was talking about at the start of this one probably about a week ago, so at this point I've received my result, my report about 2 weeks ago, I think, and now I'm just waiting for the prescription to come through, and then I will get my first shot. So, it says at the end of the letter there that he has written to my GP with specific hormone instructions, so I'm literally just waiting now. I'm at the last hurdle. But yeah, in the meantime, let me show you. I don't know if I made a video on this. Maybe I did. Maybe it's at the I can't remember. I think I mentioned this at the last portion of the video that I'm refilming. I'm on minoxidil. I've been on it for about 14 days now, and you can see that right there? Fluff is happening. It's super duper light because I haven't dyed it or anything, but like it's coming through, so minoxidil. If you want me to do like a how to apply minoxidil, how to groom things as a trans guy, let me know. What else? Oh, this is the supplement that I was on. I was actually taking this. I was taking this, which is a multivitamin. I don't know if I'm supposed to show you, but I heard from loads of my friends who did Gendercare appointment, I got their bloods done, they were like, go on a multivitamin, go on a daily vitamin, go on vitamin D because you will be deficient. And I was sort of like, it'll be fine. So about 2 weeks before my bloods, I did start taking this, but it wasn't enough. So if you're getting your bloods done soon, I recommend getting some D3. This is from a place that rhymes with Molland and Charet. I don't really know what the rules are, whether I'm supposed to, but I don't want to like be accused of, up-talking places and stuff. So this is literally just vitamin D. It's 10 micrograms, I think. But it's 200% of your daily intake, so if you want to take this instead of a multivitamin, I highly recommend it. So yeah, that's where we are now. I'm literally just waiting for the prescription to come through, and then that's that. So hopefully my next big update will be my first shot, or maybe just getting my prescription through. We'll take it one step at a time. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you with you soon. Oh, I need to sort out my hair. Look at it. This is washed, and it looks like freshly washed, and it just looks like an absolute badger behaviour.